Hey guys, what's up? It's Iconfly Jake, and today we are here to discuss the May 22nd, 2018 status report from the DayZ developers, which is quite a good one. Not a ton of information, but the information that is there is good and very interesting. So let's get started. First off, the devs wanted to talk about the fact that they're very happy with the results of the status report that went live all last weekend. If you didn't know, guys, there was a status report, not a status report, there was a stress test that was live from, I believe, Thursday night till Sunday/Monday early morning. And it was very fun. Lots of streamers played it. Lots of people played it. Lots of downloads. It was really cool. And I think total with the thousands of people playing it, there was only 200 crashes. And they were mainly from causes that they already knew of. So they were able to nail those down and mainly fix the causes of most of those crashes. But let's stop talking about the bugs such as the crashes, and let's get right into some of the new information. First up is the CLE, which if you guys didn't know stands for Central Loot Economy. It's being looked at some more, and there was a new iteration of it present in the most recent stress test. Basically, what they need to look at is the fact that, well, in the office, they cannot test. It's hard to test in, like, let's say as a developer, what exactly your loot economy, how it's going to behave with real people, because you only have a certain amount of developers to test it. So it takes things like these stress tests to really see, hey, is this enough food in the map? Are these enough weapons? What are people dying from? Because the game is a survival game, and people should, to some percentage, die from natural causes. So if you have a world where there's diseases, animals that can kill you, and starvation, you should have a certain amount of players, let's say, dying from that, and it shouldn't be higher than, I don't know, I'm just going to make a random number, but let's say you wanted it under 10%, and all of a sudden you check after the weekend of stress testing, and holy cow, 25% of deaths were from starvation or dehydration. Well, then they either have to tweak the digestion mechanics or the amount of food spawning in the world, slash the amount of water. So anyways, guys, basically they've admitted there is I don't want to say admitted like there's something wrong. They've just said, hey, we are only this is a quote from them, this is only the beginning of balancing the CLE, and in fact they plan on tweaking most aspects of the game, such as digestion, stamina, CLE as in like where loot and how much loot spawns, because they want it to be interesting, and the fact that loot is a core mechanic of DayZ, and they are passionate about getting it right. They specifically say you should be able to explore all the corners of Chernarus. I mean, guys, I'll have a video linked right now. Like, there's the fact that there's so many cool corners of Chernarus to go check out. There's a video, like I said, right here of exploring the loneliest place in DayZ Standalone. It's a nice little cinematic thing I made a while back. Kind of cool if you want to watch that after the video. Anyways, guys, moving on to the next part, which is the weapon switching animations. If any of you guys watched or played the stress test this weekend, I'm guessing you noticed the fact that, let's say you were holding, I guess, nothing in your hands, and all of a sudden you wanted to pull out a weapon from your hotspot, or like your slot on your quick slots. I don't know if it's hotspots or quick slots, whatever they are. If you have nothing in your hands and you go to switch to a AK or whatever gun you have in your back, boom, snap, it pops into your hands, and it was way too quick. It makes no sense. And that of course is something they're working on, and they of course expected this to be a thing. They have yet to implement the swapping animation. They said of course, you don't want it to be like, let's say you're having a casual conversation with somebody. Someone shouldn't be able to just boom within literally like 2 milliseconds, pop out a pistol and shoot you in the face. There needs to be you need to see the character pulling it out from their backpack. And personally, in the past, they've talked about what's it called? Soft skills, which basically means over time you will generate. There's things that affect the longer a character's been alive, the kind of soft skills it can have, or long-term visible or feelable effects. I don't think feelable is a word. For instance, they still want to have the characters grow beards eventually. So over time, there can be scars in the game from where you've been damaged in the past. Possibly things like soft skills, like I said, which could include a longer run of stamina, maybe faster pulling of guns out. In the Wild West, if you were quicker to draw your revolver out, you could shoot somebody faster than the other guy. So I think these would be some really cool soft skills to have, and it encourages players to want to live longer and not just go for PvP, because if you live longer and then all of a sudden now, because you've lived longer and pulled your revolver out more, and now you have an advantage, a very slight advantage, guys. We're not talking hours in the game. We're talking about your hours of surviving on that specific character. That would be really fun and a good encouraging. It encourages interaction versus just killing on sight sometimes. On the topic of swapping guns and stuff, basically if you guys have played DayZ, you will have noticed that you can always have of course, whatever stuff you can fit in your backpacks or your shoes, or not your shoes, gosh darn it, your pants, your shirts, whatever. But then you have 2 spots on your literal character simply to hold, 1, a melee weapon, whether that's a machete, an axe, a baseball bat, or B, the other one is some sort of long gun, quote unquote. So there's certain guns that, of course, like pistols, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like guns like AK-47s or AKMs, you can only have 1 of on your backpack, or you can double carry it, 1 in your hand, 1 on your bag. Well, now, guys, this is a huge change. It's a huge change, and if you guys don't realize this, basically, if you want to carry, let's say, a Mosin, which is like a sort of bolt-action sniper rifle, or hunting rifle, and also an AKM, both on your back, and then just have no melee weapon on your back, you're going to be able to do it, which is an amazing change to the game, because that means, let's say you want to store a fire axe in your backpack, and just keep 2 long guns on your back, you're able to do that. Or if you just want to keep 2 long guns on your back, because you feel like you're never going to use melee weapons, heck, now you have the ability to do that, because honestly, in real life, if you have room for an axe, then you also have room for you could replace that with a sort of long gun. So they're giving the character that sort of choosability. I'm forgetting the word for that, but that's a really huge change. This is in DayZ forever. You've only been able to have 1 of each, and making it the option where I said you could have 2 guns, but you could also have 2 fire axes on your back, or a fire axe and a baseball bat, or you could whatever, any kind of combination of the 2 is going to be really cool. And they're also thinking about adding belts, which gives you the possibilities to have a second type of pistol holster for the belt, a knife sheath, or like a quiver for your bow and arrows, which they say they might even have an individual bow slot. Now, keep in mind, you're thinking, holy cow, this character is going to have a ton of junk on him. Well, the idea is that that's what the weight system is for. There's been a lot of critiquing of the weight system, and towards the end of the video, I want to talk about that just a little bit. But moving on to the next part is the hit feedback from shots. Basically, they said they want some sort of system to where, let's say you're laying down, or what, it doesn't matter, you're running around and you're looking through your scope, and then you get shot in the shoulder. Well, realistically, of course you're not going to be able to hold perfect aim. You just got freaking shot. So they're trying to figure out how to balance correctly the amount of, let's say, body shake or camera shake or reactions that happen when you get shot. Personally, I don't know what the solution is to this. I think they say it perfectly in there. You may be thinking, man, that sure is annoying. Like, you get shot, and then on top of that, not only are you damaged in the fight, but it gives the other person time to reload their gun while you're recovering from getting hit. But on the other hand, you do need to have some sort of reaction. So there's going to be some sort of middle ground there. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below on how you think they should do it. Because personally, I'm interested, and I do read every single comment. So make sure you guys leave all your thoughts on this in the comments. Leave thoughts on anything, honestly. I read them all. Anyways, moving on to the next part is bleeding. If you noticed, guys, in the most recent stress test, and all of them actually, there's been no sort of visual bleeding mechanic. You cannot see that you're bleeding, and previously in DayZ, if you're bleeding, your character, I believe, always bled out the same area, or at least just a select few. But the idea now is that you're going to be actually able to bleed out of the areas where you got hit. And on top of that, let's say you got shot 4 times, and 2 of those 4 shots have caused, holes in your body to really be bleeding out bad. You're going to have to actually bandage 2 times for the 2 amount of spots you're bleeding. Now, it won't require, guessing at how much you're bleeding necessarily, because you will supposedly be able to see directly where the blood is coming from, which is a really cool mechanic, and we haven't really got to see this in any sort of GIFs or videos yet from them, I don't believe. So I'm really, really excited to see that implemented during experimental. Lastly here, guys, we have 2 really cool animations you may have seen throughout the video, and that is just the baseball bat animation, just adding some more direct, animations for what it should look like to swing a baseball bat, and also an animation for scooting backwards. When you're scooting backwards there, you can see the character is actually pushing with his elbow and then pushing with his leg off the ground, because if you guys, right now, when this video is done, I want all of you to lay down on the floor and try to scoot back. I'm just kidding. But no, really, if you imagine trying to scoot back, that's what it would look like. And I'm glad these animations are just incredibly accurate. And for any of you that didn't get to play the stress test, I'll give you a quick little overview of something I was talking about. First off, it felt great. The FPS is great. You can watch any of the streamers, and a lot of them talking about how it runs better than PUBG. I've never got these frames in my life in DayZ, and it's amazing. So that's super enjoyable. Like I was saying earlier, I wanted to discuss the weight system in DayZ, because there's been a little critique of having any sort of weight system at all, and basically having a weight system impact your stamina. And I just wanted to quickly say, I had an experience on stream where I was able to catch up to a guy and hold him up purely because I only had a child's briefcase and one gun and a few pieces of food, while this guy's fully geared, loaded down. And because I had less gear, I was able to catch up to him and hold him up, while previously in DayZ, you would have to infinitely sprint after each other until one of you just got tired of sprinting. And so this adds a really good mechanic to the game and makes it to where it's way more realistic and honestly a really fun thing. Now, that isn't to say it doesn't need tweaked at all, because I personally believe there is some tweaking that needs to get done with it. I think it's a bit too heavy currently. Like, let's say I think an average amount of items actually impacts your stamina too much currently, but not too much. It's still pretty good. And like I said, they are not. There's been no final decisions on stamina. Everything is still up in the air on how much balancing it needs. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this status report and enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to show me that by dropping a like on the video. I appreciate each and every like because it kind of shows me whether that video was good or not. And if you have any critiques or just comments in general, make sure to drop those down below because I do read every single comment. And hopefully you guys can subscribe if you like the content. I may have already said that, sorry. But either way, I will see all of you in my next stream or video. Thank you for watching.